Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. My younger sister Lily craved hot pot, and because she did, the entire family decided to go out for it. It was a normal family outing, but a minor hiccup occurred. Lily, being her usual self, started berating the waiter. It was embarrassing but sadly a common occurrence. The waiter, seemingly calm, went to the kitchen and returned with a pot of scalding water. Without a word, he poured it directly onto Lily's face. The world seemed to slow down. I saw the water arcing through the air, and before I could fully process what was happening, Lily yanked me in front of her. The searing pain hit me like a physical blow, covering my body. I screamed, my vision blurring with tears. Later at the hospital, while I was battling for my life and enduring excruciating pain, my so-called family, my parents, wrote a public letter forgiving the waiter. They did it to look compassionate, to gain sympathy. They turned my suffering into a spectacle. They even went so far as to exploit me further, breaking my legs so they could film my misery and post it online. The more pathetic I looked, the more money poured in from strangers on the internet. They exploited my pain, my agony until I finally died. Then I woke up. It was like being pulled from a nightmare only to find myself in a twisted replay. Lily was there, yelling at the same waiter, the same scene unfolding before my eyes. It was the hot pot restaurant, the same day, the same argument. This time I didn't try to stop her. I didn't intervene. I simply excused myself and went to the restroom. As I washed my hands, I heard a commotion outside, but it wasn't Lily's scream. It was a different kind of chaos. I knew what was happening in this bizarre repetition. My biological father, a man I had never known before these resets, had arrived. He came with a pot of boiling oil and poured it over me. My mother, the woman who raised me, and Lily, my sister, held me down, restraining my limbs so I couldn't escape the agonizing pain. My skin erupted in blisters, my vision swam with red, and the pain was beyond anything I could have imagined. I screamed, begging them to stop, pleading for mercy. Lily, her face a mask of sweet innocence, leaned in close. "Just hang in there, Clara," she whispered, her voice dripping with false concern. "We're going to make a lot of money soon." My mother sighed, a sound that should have been comforting but was instead chilling. "I didn't think people were so drawn to suffering," she said, her voice matter of fact. "Your burns aren't dramatic enough. Even cutting out your tongue didn't do the trick. Once we reach 5 million, sweetheart, we'll stop." 5 million, that was their price. My life, my pain was worth 5 million to them. My screams were fueled by rage and hatred. These were my family, the people who were supposed to love and protect me. My biological father slapped me, the force of it jarring my already burning body. "I gave you life," he roared. "What's a little oil? It won't kill you. Why are you screaming?" I glared at him, wishing I had the power to destroy them, to erase them from existence. "You dare glare at your father," he bellowed. He grabbed a nearby stick and started beating me mercilessly. The blisters on my skin burst, splattering blood and pus. The pain was so intense I could barely breathe. Lily, ever the picture of mocking concern, tooted. "How can you glare at Dad like that? He gave you life. You need to be obedient." I stared at them, my heart a burning coal of hatred, until my father beat me to death. Death in that moment felt like a release, a sweet escape. If only I could drag them to hell with me, I thought. I would give anything for that. And then I opened my eyes again. The restaurant. Lily yelling at the waiter. The same scene playing out for the third time. I looked at the waiter, his head bowed in forced submission, and a slow smile crept across my face. This time it was their turn. "Are you blind?" Lily shrieked at the waiter. "Can't you see the soup is practically gone? You're getting paid to stand around doing nothing. Believe me, I'll have you fired." Lily was always like this, entitled and unforgiving. The waiter apologized quietly. "I'm sorry, we're a little busy right now. I'll get some more broth from the kitchen." Lily scoffed. "With your skills, you'll be a waiter your whole life. You couldn't study well, and now you can't even wait tables properly." Her face was twisted with disgust, as if she were looking at something revolting. The waiter glanced at Lily, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes, and turned to leave. Still seething, Lily banged on the table, demanding to see the manager. I knew the manager wouldn't come. I knew what was coming instead, the pot of boiling water. In my first life, Lily had pulled me in front of her, and I had suffered burns over 65% of my body, my face permanently disfigured. While I was struggling to survive, hooked up to machines in the hospital, my family had crafted that letter of forgiveness, turning themselves into online celebrities gaining sympathy and donations. I watched the kitchen door, knowing the waiter would emerge soon. I looked at my sister, a cold smile playing on my lips. I picked up my phone. "I'm going to the bathroom," I said, my voice calm and even. Lily pouted, pinching her nose dramatically, as if she were some delicate flower who never had to use such facilities. I quickly started recording on my phone and headed towards the restroom. Just as I reached the door, I heard Lily's scream. It was even more piercing, more desperate than in my previous life. I didn't turn around immediately. I calmly entered the bathroom. "Clara, come back." It was my mother's voice, shrill and panicked. "Come back for what?" I thought. I actually needed to use the bathroom. Lily's screams were ear-splitting. There was chaos outside, a cacophony of shouts and cries. I splashed cold water on my face, taking deep breaths, slowly, deliberately. The pain they inflicted on me in my past life, I would repay it, all of it. I looked in the mirror, seeing a beautiful woman, but her eyes were filled with a cold hardness. Malice. When I finally emerged, the scene was one of utter pandemonium. Lily was wailing, her face a horrifying mess of red and raw flesh. My mother was hitting the waiter, who was cowering on the floor. The manager was apologizing profusely to my father, his face pale with fear. In my first life, they hadn't been this emotional. The waiter had only been yelled at and forced to pay damages. Seeing me approach, Lily, in a fit of rage and pain, picked up the hot pot bowl and flung the remaining contents at me. "Clara, why did you leave?" she shrieked. "Why am I the only one burned? I don't accept this." I moved quickly, dodging the scalding liquid. "Who are you?" I shouted back, feigning ignorance. "Some disfigured monster attacking people? You must be insane. I'm calling a mental hospital to take you away." Finally, I could call her ugly, the way she had always insulted me. As expected, she couldn't let it go, but I dodged her easily. The scalding soup landed on an elderly woman standing behind me. "Oh, the pain! Help me!" the woman cried before collapsing. Two middle-aged women who were with her screamed, "Mom!" One stayed with the elderly lady while the other frantically searched for her family. Within moments, four large muscular men stood before Lily, their faces grim. Startled, Lily backed away, her eyes wide with fear. My parents immediately stepped in front of her, glaring at me with open hostility. Lily, her voice shaking, pointed at me. "Clara, why did you dodge? I was aiming for you. It's all your fault. If you hadn't moved, she wouldn't have been hurt." Then, turning to the men, she said, "Make her pay. She's pretty. She can be sold for a good price." Hearing her say that didn't surprise me. That was the kind of person Lily was. Selfish, cruel, and utterly devoid of empathy. I replied, "I don't know this disfigured woman. I suggest you call the police. There are security cameras here and plenty of people are recording videos. The culprit is right there." I pointed at Lily. Lily was trapped. There was no way out. My father snorted while my mother started to cry. "Clara," my mother pleaded. "Lily's already in so much pain. Can't you help her just this once?" I smiled a cold, empty smile. "No way," I said. "She brought this on herself. She deserves it." Just then the ambulance arrived, sirens wailing. They rushed Lily to the hospital, but I didn't go with them. My parents yelled at me, calling me names, but I refused. In my mind, I saw images of them tying me up, beating me, and streaming it live online for sympathy, all while I was heavily sedated with sleeping pills. They had exposed my burns to the viewers, attracting donations from well-meaning strangers. They had created numerous online groups sharing my plight, and people unable to bear the sight of my suffering had sent them money. People like them you shouldn't get close to without some form of protection. I tracked down someone who had filmed the incident and got a copy, especially the part where Lily threw the hot pot. This time I was curious to see how they would play it. I bought 3 small security cameras and hid them around the house. Then I packed my suitcase and went back to school. There was still half a year until graduation, and I was supposed to start an internship, something my family knew about, but I was giving it up. School offered more safety and lower living costs, and I needed to focus on protecting myself. I ordered a bunch of self-defense gear online and signed up for one-on-one taekwondo and sanda, Chinese kickboxing classes at the school club. Just after a long run, my academic counselor called me. "Clara, your parents are at the school gate," she said. "They seem anxious, like they have something important to tell you. You've missed their calls, so you should go see what they want." I hadn't expected them so soon. I nodded obediently, thanked the counselor, and finished my taekwondo class before slowly heading towards the gate. They were cunning, so I carried pepper spray and a taser for self-defense just in case. At the school gate, my parents were seething with anger. They had been waiting for over an hour and were visibly impatient. Seeing me, they quickly forced awkward smiles onto their faces. I watched them, feeling nothing but cold detachment. From inside the gate, my mother spoke gently. "Clara, we're here to take you home." I almost laughed. Since when did I have a home? I shook my head. "I'm about to graduate," I said. "I'm working on my thesis and need to do research at the library. I don't have time to go back." My father glared at me and raised his hand as if to strike me. "Clara, do you think I won't kill you?" Oh, I believe it. Hadn't he beaten me to death in a past life? A man like him was capable of anything. My mother pulled him back. "Clara, I know you're still angry with Lily," she said, her voice pleading. "You're both my daughters. I can't bear to see either of you hurt. Lily's burns are severe. She's disfigured. Just forgive her." There was no forgiving them, not a single one of them. "She didn't splash anything on me," I said coldly. "So there's nothing to forgive or not forgive. She's a stranger to me. Whatever happens to her is none of my concern." Outside the school gate, my parents' faces turned sour. My father lifted his hand again, and this time my mother didn't stop him. I quickly stepped back. "I'm 18 now," I said. "You don't have to support me anymore. When you're old, I'll provide the bare minimum of support as required by law. As for Lily, I owe her nothing." My father was nearly apoplectic with rage. He scanned his ID to enter the school grounds and rushed towards me. My mother yelled from behind, "Clara, don't provoke your father. He has high blood pressure." High blood pressure? If I could provoke him to death, I'd be laughing in my sleep. For the past 2 weeks, I had been running over 20 laps around the track every day. Today I would outrun him. After a few minutes of chasing me, my father shouted, "Hey, someone stop that thief!" So shameless, still resorting to lies. I yelled back, "I'm Clara from the business management department senior year. He's a human trafficker. Someone please call the police." 2 nearby classmates recognized me. "That's our senior." Immediately, righteous classmates stepped in to help, holding my father back. He was red-eyed with fury. "I'm her father, her real father." The classmates were displeased. What kind of father calls his own daughter a thief? He's definitely lying. He looks vicious, not like a good person. Wow, he's got a knife in his pocket. Everyone be careful. He even carried a fruit knife around. It was probably meant for me. Ruthless. Was I really his biological daughter? I couldn't believe there was a father like that. My father was glaring at me. His eyes filled with hatred. "She's my daughter, and I'm taking her home today no matter what." I couldn't be bothered with him. I turned to a classmate next to him. "Hey, classmate," I said. "Can you check if he has any other dangerous items on him? This is a school, and I'm worried about everyone's safety." My classmates were amazing. Within minutes, they found a handkerchief and a small bottle of clear liquid in his pockets. My father was struggling violently, his face contorted with rage. "What you're doing is a crime. I'll sue all of you and get you expelled." He was threatening everyone there. I scoffed. "This is a school," I said. "You have dangerous items on you, making you a threat. We're just doing the world a favor." Then a particularly curious classmate picked up the handkerchief and sniffed it. It didn't take long for him to get dizzy and start to collapse. Thankfully, a nearby classmate caught him just in time. When my classmate fainted, my father panicked. He managed to break free while everyone was momentarily stunned. I quickly shouted, "Guys, he's escaping. Grab him." The man only made it a few steps before they caught him again. This time they pinned him down securely. Just as we were trying to drag him out of the school, my mother showed up. She glared at me angrily. "Clara, are you even human?" she shrieked. "That's your father, and you're treating him like this." She turned to the classmates holding my father and yelled, "Let go of my husband immediately or you'll regret this. We're old and can't handle this rough treatment." I have to say, my mother's words made my classmates hesitate. Nowadays, people are terrified of being accused by the elderly. Even if you're wealthy, it won't save you from their accusations. I said coldly, "They're the bad guys and we're doing the right thing. We have so many witnesses here. How can a few words change anything? If things really go south, I'll take the blame." The college student's sense of justice kicked in again, and a few girls also restrained my mother. My parents started shouting obscenities, but the classmates began explaining the situation, even bringing up Marxist and Mao Zedong thought. My parents went silent, but they occasionally shot me furious glares. When we got outside the school gates, 2 police officers arrived. My father got nervous and gave me a pleading look. I laughed. He brought knockout drops and a knife. I thought I'd speak up for him, but not a chance. After briefly explaining the situation, the police officers gave my parents a cold glance. They denied everything, my mother crying out in feigned injustice. "Officer, she's our daughter. How could we ever harm her?" My father was furious, saying, "This is a family matter. None of you can meddle." Choking back tears, I said, "Officer, they want to sell me to Myanmar. I'm so scared. I don't think they're my real parents. Can you help me?" My parents froze, panic flashing briefly in their eyes. There must be something fishy going on. No wonder they had been so heartless to me. My mother pointed at my nose, scolding, "Clara, do you have a conscience? We raised you for over 20 years, and this is how you repay us? You're an ungrateful wolf and will surely go to hell." They beat me nearly to death and called that a conscience. The ones who should go to hell were them. No matter how much they argued, once the knife and the drugs came up, we all went to the police station. Even then, my parents tried to defend themselves, but there was a swarm of college students as witnesses. They were all taken into separate rooms for questioning. The whole incident had a really bad impact. Tons of students had witnessed it and uploaded countless videos online, forcing the police to treat the matter seriously. Wiping my tears, I slowly explained why I believed they weren't my biological parents, even showing them the video where Lily threw the hot pot at me. Their words in that video were brutally mean, devoid of any affection. A simple paternity test could solve it, but I wanted to unearth the truth, whatever it might be. Over 2 hours later, my father, or rather the man I had known as my father, Mike, was taken into custody. He took full responsibility for the day's events, attempting to shield my mother and Lily. As for my parentage, they stuck to a consistent story. They had found me as a baby in a trash heap. I didn't believe it for a second. Just as I was leaving the station, my mother, well, now just my foster mother, Wendy, pulled me aside with a fawning, almost desperate expression. She pleaded, "Clara, can you please write a statement of forgiveness for Mike? Please." I chuckled softly, the sound devoid of any humor. "I have no mother," I said, my voice cold. "I'm just an orphan. After how you've treated me all these years, how dare you ask me to write a statement?" Growing up, they had made me sacrifice everything for Lily. I was assigned all the chores, given only her hand-me-down clothes, treated like a servant, less than human. I started working part-time in high school, and they took most of my earnings. Only when I secretly tutored more students in college did I manage to save anything for myself. Wendy paused, an awkward smile flickering across her face. "Clara, it was snowing that night," she said, her voice taking on a wheedling tone. "If we hadn't taken you in, you wouldn't be here now. We've raised you for decades. Can't you write just one statement of forgiveness?" "No," I said, my voice firm. "Not even if you killed me would I write that statement." Seeing my resolute silence, Wendy dropped to her knees with a thud. I quickly sidestepped, a shiver running down my spine. After facing death once before, I was wary of her, almost as if she could drain my life force with her desperation. Crying, Wendy said, "They want us to pay 50,000 yuan in fines, and Lily's surgery needs another 100,000. Mike is our family's pillar. We can't do without him." "Surgery? Dream on." Last time around, they had never mentioned surgery. "Sell the house," I said coldly. "You're not broke." Wendy shook her head vigorously. "No, that's our lifeline. We can't sell it, not even in death. So it was okay to sell me off, huh? Typical double standards. Smirking at her, I said. Then make Lily a huge influencer. She's in such a sorry state. Surely some people will donate. Wendy's eyes lit up, a spark of greed igniting in them. How can she become a big influencer? She asked eagerly. I laughed. This time I wanted to see if they would choose their daughter or the money. I smiled sweetly and said, post photos of her burns online. The sadder the better to go viral quickly. Write an apology letter to that waiter. Wendy pondered and I turned to leave, knowing them, Lily would definitely become an online celebrity. These were the very tricks they had used in my last life. Now it was Lily's turn to experience them. Not long after returning to school, Wendy called me. Clara, why did you run off so quickly? She demanded. You're smart. Get back here and help us out. Look at all the shameless things, she said. If they drag me back, would it end well for me? No, I replied calmly. Lily's smart. She knows what to do. By the way, since we aren't blood related, just don't contact me unless it's absolutely necessary. Hearing what I said made the person on the other end jump up in anger. Wendy pointed at my nose through the phone, of course, and cursed me for a solid half hour, saying the nastiest, most vile things imaginable. I listened obediently, occasionally letting out words of surprise, sadness, and regret, playing along with her tirade. Once she was almost done, I quietly said, I was going to write a letter of forgiveness for Mike, but after hearing you rant like that, I realized you guys don't deserve my forgiveness. Wendy paused for a moment, then screamed, Clara, I was wrong. I was just momentarily blinded. I'll slap myself twice, okay? Please forgive me. I heard 2 slapping sounds over the phone, unsure if they were real or fake. Wendy, now sobbing, said, Clara, you're such a good person. You'll forgive us, right? Come back, and we can become big influencers together. Ever since they had cut out my tongue in my past life, I had lost all desire to be the good person. I had had enough of being their punching bag, their scapegoat. No thanks, I said. Let Lily be the big influencer. Didn't she get disfigured? It's the tragedy that will make her famous. Oops, it seemed I had hit a nerve with Wendy. She shouted angrily, Clara, you'll gee. After hanging up, I turned on the surveillance cameras I had hidden in their house. Wendy was sitting on the couch, seething. I'll go to the school tomorrow and trick her into coming home, she snarled. Then I'll disfigure her face to make her the big influencer. Lily, wearing a hat and mask that only revealed her sinister eyes, chimed in. How can she attend school peacefully while living better than me? She needs to suffer more than me. Mom, I'm not satisfied. I want to kill her. Wendy hugged her and patted her back, saying, Don't worry, Lily. As long as we make her suffer, she'll earn money for your surgery and buy you a mansion. Lily replied coldly, I don't want to hear her voice. Trick her into coming home tomorrow. Let's cut her tongue out first. So that's why they had cut out my tongue in my past life. I knew they were vile, but a cold sweat still broke out on my back. I wanted to take this evidence to the police, but they would probably just give them a warning. The main reason Mike had been detained was the date rape drug. They needed to investigate its source. Otherwise, the police couldn't do much since no real harm had been caused yet. I checked all my bank cards. I had only 5.26 yuan in total. After careful consideration, I decided to run away. If I had had the money, I would have left the moment I was reborn, but being broke sucks. Even the Taekwondo and Sanda classes were offered at a discount by generous classmates. Otherwise, I couldn't even have signed up. I went to my counselor and explained the situation, revealing some of the family issues. She sighed. Don't worry, she said. This is a school. They can't bully my students. In my past life, when I was disfigured, she had brought classmates to visit me, encouraging me to overcome the trauma. But I had never truly stepped out of that darkness. I said, tears welling up in my eyes. Teacher, I don't want to get tangled up with them anymore. After all, they raised me for over 20 years. No matter what, I'm the junior and I can't win. Outsiders will say they have it tough and that I should be more forgiving. It's easy for them to preach when they are not in my shoes. As long as they play the pitiful card, people will always sympathize with the weak. I had seen through this in my past life. My counselor told me not to worry about school. She would handle it. She gave me a big hug, and I packed my belongings and left. That night, I took a high-speed train to Chengdu, then a bus to Guiyang to quickly find a place with room and board. I went straight into a factory job screwing parts together. Surprisingly, it felt fine. At least no one was calling me a thankless wretch. My mother, Wendy, went to my school several times, but she got nowhere. She confronted my counselor, demanding to see me, but the teacher simply reported it to the police. Some people you just can't reason with. You say one thing, and they rant for half an hour without repeating themselves. The police called me. I cried, saying they wanted to sell me off. Should I just to be sold, I asked. I don't like them. I even hate them. Yeah, they raised me, but I never said I wouldn't take care of them in their old age. I'm 18 now and can choose my own life. Wendy was cursing at me from the side. Even the police couldn't stop her. I smirked slightly, speaking in a cold tone. See, with parents like this, why would I go back? I'm not a masochist. I'm a living, breathing person. After hanging up, I went out and treated myself to a hot pot, celebrating my newfound freedom. A week later, I stumbled across Lily's pity party video online. In the end, they had chosen money. In the video, Lily showed her severe burns, looking truly terrifying. She cried dramatically, telling her story, and even asked the audience if she should write the waitress a letter of forgiveness. Viewers sympathized with her, slamming the waitress, and the video blew up, gaining over 200,000 followers overnight. Nicely done. I couldn't help but give her a virtual thumbs up. The higher they stand, the harder they fall. The next day, Lily went live, writing the forgiveness letter while crying, and posted her PayPal account, hoping viewers would donate. Wendy sympathetically chimed in about how hard it was, mentioning how Mike had gone to find me but ended up in jail. Of course, she left out the drugging and the knife part, claiming they just wanted me to visit Lily but got misunderstood and thrown into jail. She expertly manipulated viewers against me, multiplying the online abuse I faced. Nicely done. I wanted them to enjoy their moment a bit longer, but it wasn't strictly necessary anymore. A few days later, I heard they had given the waitress the letter of forgiveness, and donations had hit over 2 million, enough for quite a party. I quickly released a video of Lily cursing the waitress and throwing the hot pot broth at people. The caption read, "The pitiful are often despicable." I spent 1,000 yuan on ad boosts and commented under Lily's videos, driving traffic to my own. Soon my video went viral too. Lily's video comments section soon became a bashing spree. People online were absolutely fed up with scammers who think they can play them for fools. Lily was crying and insisting that wasn't her. She claimed it was an AI-generated video, and that she was innocent. She even guessed it was the server who did it since she had just sent out an apology letter, and then the video surfaced. Who else could it be? Wendy, wiping her tears, asked everyone if they could take back the apology letter. "We don't want to be the good guys anymore," she sobbed. This new video caused a shift in public opinion. Half the people online were still supporting them, a few were skeptical, and the rest were calling them fake saints. I didn't understand why they were struggling. I mean, they knew they had shot that video themselves. I had 5 or 6 videos from different angles on my phone. Maybe they thought the internet was just plain stupid and that the one who cries the hardest deserves sympathy. People do tend to root for the underdog. I posted 2 more videos from other angles, captioning them, "Are AIs really this smart now?" Altering angles and everything. Before I could upload more, the server herself showed up with footage from the hot pot restaurant surveillance cameras. She even posted some chat logs where Lily had threatened her, and included some 60-second voice recordings of Lily hurling insults. She captioned it, "I'd rather go to jail than be humiliated by her. I've got a temper, but I only lash out at those who deserve it." Now, there was no way Lily could talk her way out of this. I messaged the school counselor saying that Mike going ballistic at school was fair game to post online. She'd been wanting to post it for a while. I had just asked her to hold off. In no time, the internet was flooded with videos of Mike and Wendy wreaking havoc at school. Tons of students had recorded it from every angle, and some even shared their own thoughts at the end. That stuff about the drugged candy and the knife was in every clip. The drug student shared their story, advising viewers to stay cautious. Even a family member of the counselor also posted a video stating, "Clara is a star student here, and we are committed to her safety." The police informed us she wasn't their biological daughter. They found her in a dumpster and came to school planning to drug her and sell her for $500,000. Lily panicked. She went live from the rooftop. Wendy was there with swollen eyes, begging her to reconsider. Oh, she's playing the prove my innocence by dying card. I wasn't buying it. She just wanted everyone to give in. Even if she was wrong, she wanted forgiveness. Otherwise, everyone would be guilty of her death. Lily sobbed to the camera. Can't you guys just believe me, or do you need me to die first? Half the online comments were outright bashing her, telling her to jump already. People just weren't buying her act anymore. Heartbroken, Lily said, "If my death can make you happy, maybe I should just die." Wendy wasn't going to let her do it. Crying, she choked out, "Let me go instead. I'm 48 and I've lived my life. You're only 18, haven't even fallen in love or become a mom. Your life has barely begun." Lily shook her head, her face drenched in tears. A scary sight to behold with her damaged face. I had to hand it to her. She was a pretty decent actress, enough to get some folks back on her side, pitying her. They were making excuses for her, saying she was just straightforward, not ill-intentioned. The customer is king, so what if she yelled at a server? She was young, and her face being wrecked was enough punishment. She deserved a second chance. With more people supporting her, Lily cried harder while reading the comments. She pitifully said, "Yeah, I yelled at the server, but she ignored me for half an hour. Can't I complain a bit? Don't we consumers deserve better treatment than getting hot water thrown on us? Did I really do something wrong by trying to make my own boiling water?" The comments started leaning in her favor. Well, maybe she's just got a hot temper. It's not that big of a deal, right? No. In no time, most of the comments were coming from supporters. Again, Lily totally nailed this little live performance. Before long, the cops showed up with Mike. The guy had lost a lot of weight. Jail evidently wasn't treating him kindly, and Mike was almost in tears, his voice shaking. "Lily, come down here. I can't lose you to these online folks. Don't know Jack blabbing nonsense everywhere." The called-out viewers stayed quiet, knowing he had a point. Seeing their comments, Lily worked up some courage, going into more detail about her hardships. Her tears seemed endless, wiping them only for more to flow. If I knew her, she had something up her sleeve, which explained the convincing performance. The cops clarified that Mike's detainment was part of a sting operation. "We've busted the drug factory," one officer said. "So his crimes canceled each other out. He's free to go home." He added a public reminder. "Knowingly buying illegal goods makes you guilty of trafficking according to Article 312. If you know something's illegal and you hide it or help sell it, you could get up to 3 years. If it's worse, it jumps to 7. I knew this already. The police had told me yesterday. Mike sure got lucky. Him getting out was all right. Spending time in jail would have been a drag without much lasting impact on him." Looking ashamed, Mike bowed to the online audience. "I failed as a father to Lily," he said. "I didn't raise her right. I should be the one to die, but I hope you can be lenient with her. She's just 18, still a child." Wendy cried beside him, wanting to die herself. These three were like characters in a drama. Their words said one thing, but their actions told another story. But the viewers didn't see through them. They kept making excuses for the trio's past actions and started showering them with gifts for comfort. Their play was a massive success. Lily's followers hit 10 million, and her profile added a PayPal link as well. When the stream ended, I monitored the surveillance cameras. Sure enough, they showed up at home shortly after. When Wendy looked smug, "Pretty good idea, right?" she said. "I came up with it. We just made over $1 million in gifts from the live stream, and there's some fool still transferring money to our PayPal." Lily rushed to wash her hands, forcing a creepy smile. "Good thing we had onions, or I'd never be able to cry like that. If I wasn't such a good actress, do you think they'd be on our side?" Mike laughed out loud. "Not bad, not bad. My daughter's got brains. But as for Clara, I want her gone. How dare she treat me like this? If it weren't for that fortune teller saying an adopted kid would bring us luck, why would I even raise her? I've taken care of her for over 20 years. So what if she's marrying a fool?" Wendy nodded eagerly. Yes, yes, yes. Let's make a few million more, sell Claire off to Myanmar, and then we can enjoy life abroad. It's so easy to fool internet users here in China. I act pitiful and we are a Who in millions? Heck, I feel like we could scam billions. I uploaded their audio online without the visuals. They still had image rights, so a complaint would have gotten the video taken down. The audio lasted for 3 minutes with tons of insults directed at the online community. I wasn't sure if the Fairweather fans would get mad or not. In the comments, I posted a message with a screenshot of a 1,000 unanimous transfer. The caption read, "So this is how you guys really are. This is illegal fundraising, and I've reported it to the police." It didn't take long for the audio to blow up. Donors posted screenshots in the comments saying they wanted to sue them. Lily's video comment sections were flooded with hate. Nobody wants to be played for a fool. Panicking, the trio posted a video claiming the audio was fake and that people misunderstood their situation. However, no one believed them. This time, folks compared the audio to what was recorded in the hot pot restaurant and figured out it was definitely their voices. Lily went crazy at home while Wendy called the police, claiming someone broke into their house. Otherwise, how could the audio be leaked? Shortly after, the police arrested all of them, not because they called the cops, but because countless fans reported them for fraud. Wendy and Lily went to jail while Mike, who wasn't directly involved in the online scam, was released. While Mike was smashing things at home in a fit of rage, someone entered before he could react. They covered his mouth and dragged him to the bathroom. The intruder said menacingly, "Because of you, my boss is in jail. They also took all our money. I can't even support my wife and kids now. I'm going to kill you." Mike ended up dead, chopped into bits and thrown into the sewer. If the pipe hadn't clogged, he might not have been found. Lily went insane, clearly out of her mind, and was sent to a mental hospital later. That server who had been working at the hot pot place got a job there. I visited her once. Lily was truly lost. She had become morbidly obese, weighing over 400 pounds, a terrifying sight that could scare ghosts. Her body was covered in a patchwork of new and old scars. When she sees people, she crawls into a corner muttering, "I was wrong. I was really wrong. I won't do it again." Seeing her like this, I felt a sense of relief, a closure of sorts. Wendy got 15 years in prison. Their funds were all frozen. Not a penny left. Now I could finally go to work in peace and return home safe without fear. The police reached out saying they had found my birth parents, but I think I'm better off alone. I don't want to get too involved. I guess I'm going to have trust issues for a long time. The whole experience has left a deep scar, a constant reminder of the cruelty and deception that people are capable of. But it has also made me stronger, more resilient, and more determined to live my life on my own terms.